How to use layers in Instagram stories. That's the topic for today's podcast.
Welcome to the Just Add Social podcast. I am pleased to hand over to our social media expert Clive Roach, who is the host for this episode.
Great to see you once again, Aria. Let me first introduce you to the Social Savvy Scale. In this podcast, we have a way to describe how advanced the topic is. We provide this number up front in the podcast description and at the start of each podcast. This enables you to have a heads up as to the depth of detail as you can decide which podcast is best for you to learn from based on your personal view of your own social media savviness. So the scale goes from 1 to 10, with 1 being for beginners and 10 being for the Jedi master level for social media marketing. So Aria, what is the Social Savvy Scale number for this podcast?
Savvy Social Scale 1 to 10. This is easily level 3.
Ah, nice, very nice. Okay, let's get going. Today, as I said before, we're talking about how to use layers in Instagram stories. Let's start looking at Instagram stories. Instagram has now introduced this layer system in stories. So now it is super easy to organize the position and color of stickers and images. Now, Instagram has come a long way. I was shocked to look back and see that it has been several years since the launch of Instagram stories way back in August 2016. I loved it, but my intern at the time did not. And her name was Lara at the time. She was not impressed as she saw it as a Snapchat copy, and she was the Snapchat queen at the time. However, Stories has rapidly surpassed 500 million daily active users a long time ago, and that number has increased and increased. Now Stories is a very big part of Instagram, where we share temporary content that disappears after 24 hours. In fact, I update my stories daily on 3 of my personal brand accounts. It is very important to make use of the interactivity and the visually engaging features like stickers, polls, questions, and filters. The engagement with these elements within stories affects the algorithm which selects the most relevant content to display within the platform, so it's really important. LinkedIn even created a rival called LinkedIn Stories, which I loved using on behalf of my company, and we discovered success factors to make future content even more engaging. Sadly, LinkedIn sunsetted it, took it out of operation, leaving Instagram Stories to reign supreme, battling Facebook Stories, and of course now we have TikTok Stories as well. Don't you think that's interesting, Aria, how we had LinkedIn Stories and that went, and now we have the other story formats?
Interesting.
It is interesting. You like?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so now let's move on to layers, this new functionality in Instagram Stories. Instagram now has this layer system in Stories, making it easy when several elements are being added. We have all been there, right? When a false move by a finger suddenly hides stickers behind a big image. Oh, it's frustrating. So really hard with these efforts needed to get them back to the front and to be repositioned. So this new layer system feature is long overdue in my opinion. Finally, we can now easily modify and organize the position and color of the various elements carefully selected for our stories. Thanks, Aria. Yes, I agree. We needed it. The Instagram story system enables elements like text or stickers to be positioned by holding them down allowing for easy forward or backward movement within the layout. In addition, we can make use of an eyedropper feature to adjust the colors, making consistent aesthetic look to the story. And I think that's our goal, right, in the end for all of us. So let me now go through a step-by-step guide, 5 steps to adding the layers into your Instagram story. So let's start this step-by-step guide.
1.
Number 1, insert the desired elements, the text, the stickers, etc. into your story. Get them all ready.
2.
Hold down the element you wish to modify to access the layer system, which will appear as white horizontal lines.
3.
While holding down the selected element that you have, drag it up or down to adjust its position in the foreground or background, and you'll see it go to the foreground and the background, and it will go up and down the white layer system icon, so you can tell is it at the top or is it at the bottom.
4.
To secure its position, hold down and slide your finger towards the padlock icon. That really locks it into position.
5.
And number 5, my final tip is to alter the color of the element, if you want to do that, by maintaining your finger pressure and dragging toward the eyedropper button. And that's my step-by-step guide to adding the layers into Instagram stories. Now let's look at the final aspect of this podcast, which is how does Instagram posts, which we've had for years, compare to Instagram stories? Which one is better? So I want to end on this particular point for this podcast and ask this question: post versus stories. Because which is best for engagement or click traffic? Influencers often use stories to drive click traffic. Now, I love tracking the performance of the various Instagram stories run by regional colleagues via a social media command center or social media reporting from the tool that I've had years of experience with, and this particular one is Sprinklr, because we can input the stories into that tool via connecting the Instagram account, and then we get not only the stats of the posts but also for the stories. So it's great to learn the success factors across countries and languages in real-time dynamic charts, so that we can see why some stories are performing better than others. Sometimes stories can provide huge click traffic and little engagement, and sometimes it's the other way around. So here's a quick look at the different aspects of using Instagram posts versus Instagram stories. Here we go. The first aspect to deal with stories is just how long they last for. Stories only last for 24 hours, so they can be more in the moment, for in the moment type stories. Very good casual aspects around stories. Selfie, videos, or behind the scenes content, quite common for stories. And also they're kind of designed for engagement. So stories are great for those engagement moments due to all the different stickers with your followers. And now Instagram posts. What are the really important aspects of Instagram posts compared to stories? Well, the first one is the evergreen aspect. Content that you want people to be able to see forever, or at least the last time of the account. Well, Instagram post is the place for that. Curated, so aim for high value content on your Instagram feed. You wouldn't put a lot of casual stuff there, but curated stuff that you want to be evergreen over years, that's where you put for Instagram posts. And is the content designed for reach? So posts are more likely to reach new audiences than stories, generally speaking. Okay, last thing we have to do today is always the key takeaways. Isn't that right, Aria?
Of course, rolling right now.
Okay, here we go. Try out Instagram's new layer system for better story design. So my tip for you is start experimenting today with the layer system, adding stickers, text and images. Practice organizing the elements and really see if you can make your stories more professional and visually stunning. Leverage the algorithm by maximizing the interactivity. So focus on creating interactivity and eye-catching stories by increasing the engagement through reactions and clicks. And keep an eye out for future layer enhancements, right? Stay informed about where it's going, because as it evolves with options maybe like grouping layers or animations, this can really further to help how well it is to engage with your stories and to get great engagement. And lastly, experiment with that, with what I said before about posts versus stories. So again, using stories for time-sensitive, behind-the-scenes content where layers can make your interactive elements pop out, right? Compared to the longer-lasting evergreen content such as Instagram posts. So consider how you might want to translate the story concepts into that format compared to stories, and be consistent with that so people know what they will get with your stories and they can see how your posts complement that content. So it's by testing these strategies and staying adaptable as Instagram develops its story features. In that way, you can create more engaging, dynamic and aesthetically pleasing content that captures your audience's attention. That's a wrap for today. Remember, just adding social can take your marketing from good to great, whether you're working in the online world or bringing offline campaigns to life.
Please do subscribe to the podcast before you go. Also, you can sign up for the email newsletter for the blog at cliveroachblog.com.
Take care. See you next time.
Till next time, bye.
Goodbye.